deep beneath the marble towers of the old world, a table of glass glows with trembling blueprints. Lines of geometry twist like veins of cold light, mapping out every plan designed to delay awakening. The builders, those unseen architects of control, lean close, tracing their rulers across fading ink. Every measurement fails. Their compasses spin in circles. Their pencils snap. They whisper of containment strategies, distraction, doubt, division. But the blueprints resist them. The paper itself begins to ripple, the lines glowing from beneath as if truth were burning through the page. They realize too late that the structure they meant to design was already designed by something higher. Unless the Lord builds a house, the builders labor in vain. Psalm 127, verse 1. Each stroke of their pen collapses into light. What they meant for secrecy becomes revelation. Their architectural language, once precision and dominance, now shakes under the weight of its own deception. One schematic bursts into flame. Another melts into water. Equations transform into scripture. Mercy will override manipulation. The oldest among them lifts his head. "We drew the map," he mutters, "but it keeps turning into a mirror." Indeed, it does. For every pattern they sketch reflects their own undoing. Control dissolves into confession. Symmetry becomes surrender. The room fills with brightness they cannot source nor stop. It pours through the cracks like liquid sunrise, rewriting every plan in gold. They fall silent. Because the moment a false design is exposed, heaven's blueprint downloads into creation itself. A plan written in forgiveness, not fear. The new architecture begins where their arrogance ends. Outside, thunder sounds like applause. The construction of chaos has been officially canceled. If opposition has intensified before your breakthrough, type 666. It isn't a curse. It's confirmation the false is failing. In the catacombs of control, corridors carved not in stone, but in secrecy, the builders gather once more. They do not have faces, only intentions wearing form. Each one speaks in echoes of fear, and the echoes answer each other until the room itself becomes anxious. They think they are hidden, but their hiding place is lit from beneath by the truth they tried to bury. Every whisper casts a shadow, and every shadow now is light inside it. Even darkness has grown transparent. They speak of containment protocols, psychological architecture, structural obedience. They imagine themselves engineers of destiny, yet their vocabulary betrays them. Each word designed to imprison, each sentence crumbling at the touch of mercy. The council's leader unrolls a new parchment. Across it are lines drawn in ash. He calls it the final design. But as the others lean closer, they see the lines are moving, ash turning to dust, dust rearranging itself into script. Every hidden thing shall be revealed. Luke 8, verse 17. Fear ripples through the table. Their compasses swing wildly, pointing not north, but upward. The ceiling begins to hum with the vibration of exposure. They look up, expecting collapse, but instead beams of light pierce through the cracks, forming a lattice of gold over their blueprints. The very geometry of heaven is overlaying their own. One by one, their voices break into confession. They admit they never built anything, only copy what they feared. Control was imitation. Secrecy was insecurity dressed as wisdom. They realized that what they called power was simply the absence of peace. The meeting becomes a reckoning. Their shadows stretch across the floor, meeting at the center, merging until they form a single shape, the outline of a door. On its threshold glows a sentence written in fire too soft to burn. What you designed for dominion will now serve deliverance. They stand speechless, because the darkness they trusted has betrayed them first. The council ends not with agreement, but with awakening. The light shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1, verse 5. The meeting of shadows dissolves into morning. Control was never theirs to keep. If what was plotted against you is beginning to collapse under its own weight, type 666. The shadows are confessing. Exposure is underway. They lock the chamber and roll out their surviving plans. Pages of geometry, sealed in steel tubes, humming faintly with fear. Each sheet carries decades of control. Codes, symbols, unseen agreements. They spread them across the marble floor, like maps of a kingdom that never truly existed. Then, without warning, the temperature drops. The air bends. Ink begins to rise from the pages like smoke written in reverse. At first they think it's heat distortion, until the lines ignite from inside the paper, fire blooming beneath the surface. The flames do not consume, they reveal. Hidden notes appear in gold lettering. This was never yours to build, for our God is a consuming fire. Hebrews 12 verse 29. The builders stumble back as their blueprints transform into windows. Through the burning patterns, they glimpse scenes they never planned. Homes healed, cities reconciled, people remembering their worth. The future they tried to control is freeing itself. A voice, calm yet absolute, fills a room. Every design drawn in darkness must pass through light for inspection. The fire obeys, traveling blueprint to blueprint, leaving only ash shaped like feathers. What once looked like strategy now resembles scripture. One builder screams, "Stop it, we'll lose everything." But the architect of light whispers through the flames, "You cannot lose what was never true." The day will bring it to light. It will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test the quality of each man's work. 1 Corinthians 3 verse 13. Outside, lightning answers like punctuation. The towers of secrecy flicker, their windows glowing from within. Citizens look up and see patterns of light forming in the smoke. Not destruction, but correction. Every plan built on fear is rewriting itself into freedom. When the fire finally subsides, the blueprints are gone. Only circles of radiant dust remain on the floor, still pulsing faintly, as if the memory of grace refuses to fade. The builders kneel among the ashes. They do not understand, but they know this. The fire came for purification, not punishment. The age of hidden architecture has ended. Light has repossessed the plans. If what once burned you now seems to be refining you, type 666. The fire is not against you. It's working on your behalf. Smoke still curls above the ruined table when a wind not born of weather moves through the chamber. The remaining builders freeze. Every flame bends in one direction, as if bowing. From the corridor of shadow, he enters, the architect of light. No crown, no army, only radiance carried calmly in human form. His steps make no sound, yet each one repairs what it touches. Cracked tiles mend, fallen beams stand upright. Where his feet pass, dust turns translucent. He carries a single compass made of glass and breath. Its needle spins once, then locks toward true north, mercy. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me shall not walk in darkness. John 8 verse 12. The builders drop their pens instinctively. They know the difference between invention and origin. He does not scold. He observes. Blueprints that survive the fire rise into the air, unfolding like wings. He studies them in silence, then exhales. Instantly, the wrong lines fade, and the remaining shapes rearrange into harmony. One of them dares to whisper, "Are you here to destroy?" The architect smiles, light bending in empathy around his face. "I came to finish what fear began and could not complete." He touches the glowing dust on the floor. Every spark becomes a doorway. Through them they glimpse cities rebuilt on kindness. Towers form to transparency, homes lit by trust instead of surveillance. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118 verse 22. He lifts his compass. Its circle expands until it fills the room, swallowing secrecy, measuring only truth. In that moment, they realize the ultimate paradox. The master light never competes. He completes. His blueprint is forgiveness. His foundation is revelation. The walls dissolve into daylight. No ceiling, no confinement, only sky. The architect steps into the brightness he brought, leaving one message etched into the air like gold dust on wind. Build nothing that hides me. The room, emptied of its fear, becomes a sanctuary. Every builder stands taller, reborn as witness. If new clarity is entering what once confused you, type 666. The architect of light has entered your design. After the architect departs, light remains behind like a patient teacher. The builders stare at the air, expecting instructions carved in thunder. Instead, silence speaks first, And in that silence, heaven begins drafting its counterplan. Scrolls of air unfurl across the horizon, visible to no eye that looks for revenge. This plan is written in paradox. It conquers by compassion, advances by forgiveness, and defends by revelation. Every line glows with calm defiance of violence. Where the old design raised walls, the new one sketches doors. Where they plotted containment, grace drafts connection. Where secrecy built ceilings, mercy opens windows. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12, verse 21. The counterplan moves like wine through every blueprint of fear, rewriting equations with empathy. Banks begin funding generosity. Courts deliver restoration instead of punishment. Architects of power wake in the night, hearing the same phrase pulsing through their dreams. Redeem what you intended to rule. Heaven does not send armies. It sends clarity. It doesn't topple structures. It teaches them transparency. The counterplan infiltrates through kindness, a contagion no firewall can filter. Emails arrive in systems never meant for grace, carrying messages signed only LIGHT. Entire departments of deception dissolve before sunrise. Love never fails. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 8. Across the globe, people begin building differently. Architects replace steel with gardens. Cities adopt circular layouts to remind themselves of wholeness. Prisons transform into schools. The world realizes that heaven's plan was never destruction. It was design correction. The builders, humbled, whisper among themselves, "How do we stop it?" The answer comes as laughter rolling through clouds. You can't stop what saves. Because the counterplan isn't fighting the old system. It's fulfilling the original purpose buried beneath it. The blueprint of betrayal has been overwritten by the architecture of awakening. Every wall drawn in fear now holds a hidden hinge of hope. If life has started opening doors where you expected walls, type 666. The counterplan is active. Grace has entered your design. The archives begin to glow from within. Cabinets hum like choirs warming their throats. Every fold of the builders once sealed in secrecy trembles under a light that seeks nothing but truth. Locks melt. Ink rearranges. What was once classified becomes clarified. Scrolls lift from their boxes, pages turning as if caught in a wind made of intention. Symbols long misused twist into their rightful form. Triangles folding into hearts, eyes blooming into suns. The geometry corrects itself. The language of oppression becomes the alphabet of revelation. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed. Luke 12, verse 2. On one document, black ink drains away, revealing verses carved beneath. Mercy was a secret you feared most. Another paper bursts into radiant dust, spelling phrases that hover in the air. Truth is the final technology. Historians watching this phenomenon begin to weep. Centuries of confusion are being edited by light. Every seal breaks without force, only frequency. The more they try to close the cabinets, the brighter they become. Emblems once wielded for exclusion now unfold like wings. The compass of control spins freely, finally pointing toward transparency. The entrance of your words gives light. Psalm 119, verse 130. Around the globe, digital archives mirror the miracle. Hard drives hum with unfamiliar warmth. Encrypted files display prayers instead of passwords. People searching for data find devotion instead. Information, purified of manipulation, begins to heal memory itself. The builders fall to their knees, hands covering eyes that cannot bear the beauty of exposure. For they see now that revelation is not punishment. It is purification. Every secret carried guilt. Every confession carries glory. Above them, the architect's voice returns, woven through light. Illusion has finished its job. It brought you to reality. The documents, now weightless, rise into the air, dissolving into beams that form new constellations. Across the night sky, letters appear, written in starlight. The plan was never hidden. It was holy. The revelation is complete. What the world called secret, heaven called syllabus. If truth has started finding you faster than you can search for it, type 666. Revelation has entered your timeline. No lock can survive the light. While the archives blaze with revelation, the chosen does not run toward the spectacle. He stands at the edge of light, calm as dawn before its decision to rise. Around him, others tremble, awed, confused, redeemed in fragments. But he breathes as though he has been here before, because he has. Every generation's unveiling feels familiar to the one who carries memory older than time. He has learned that when darkness screams loudest, it is only proving that light has arrived. So he watches the collapse of secrecy with gratitude instead of glee. This is not revenge, this is release. The light shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1 verse 5. Reporters rush toward him, asking what he thinks of the exposure. The burning files, the city shimmering with new geometry. He replies softly, "It was never against me. It was just afraid of me." The microphones record silence after his sentence, because the truth lands heavier than sound. He lifts his hands, not to command but to bless. Light leaps from his palms, yet it does not blind. It balances. Those who stood divided now find their voices tuning to the same pitch of peace. The builders, kneeling in the ruins, feel warmth crawl up their spines. They weep, not for guilt, but for the unfamiliar comfort of being forgiven. Perfect love casts out fear. 1 John 4 verse 18. The chosen walks among them. He touches blueprint of ash, and they bloom into gardens. He touches shattered compasses, and they spin toward mercy again. He does not curse the past. He consecrates it, because he knows resistance is the mirror of relevance, proof that what he carries threatens only illusion. He turns to the sky, where the architect's voice still lingers like sunlight after thunder. "Thank you," he whispers, "for letting opposition be my education." And heaven replies through wind and rhythm. Your calm was your conquest. The chosen smiles. Every trembling system just graduated into grace. If opposition has begun to teach you instead of torment you, type 666. Resistance only proves relevance. The light within you has been confirmed. The cities tremble, but not from war. No bombs, no riots, just realization. Structures built on pride begin to breathe like living things, then sigh, then soften. Steel bends in the curves of compassion. Glass turns transparent enough to let the sky through. The skyline exhales. It's not collapse, it's confession. Every plant that my Father has not planted will be pulled up by the roots. Matthew 15, verse 13. The skyscrapers of ego, once monuments to dominance, now ripple like reflections on water. Corporate towers bow toward hospitals. Parliaments shimmer until their walls turn to windows. Even statues of conquest weep small streams of rain that taste like salt and surrender. No one screams. The fall is silent, elegant, orchestrated by mercy. Foundations don't explode. They kneel. Under every crumbling floor, seeds sprout. Roots push through concrete, lifting pavement like scripture unrolling itself. The earth, relieved, begins to heal from centuries of pressure. Historians call it anomaly. Prophets call it alignment. Children call it beautiful. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Matthew 23, verse 12. Old empires flicker between material and memory. Their crests fade, replaced by murals of faces once forgotten, the poor, the kind, the faithful. Every demolished headquarters becomes a community garden. Every palace becomes a sanctuary. The new architecture is empathy. Walls that listen, ceilings that sing, corridors that echo laughter instead of orders. The builders, now witnesses, watch the skyline reassemble in light. They whisper, "We lost everything." But the chosen replies, "No, you gain foundation, because what falls in forgiveness rises unshakable." Forgiveness doesn't erase, it re-engineers. And so the world's map redraws itself, not by conquest, but by compassion's coordinates. The global grid hums with new symmetry, harmony instead of hierarchy. Love builds up. 1 Corinthians 8, verse 1. The last tower to fall does not break. It dissolves into daylight. And from its place, a single tree grows, its roots spelling one word into the soil. Begin. The era of ego is over. The architecture of empathy stands. If what you build in pride is falling, but peace is rising, type 666. The fall isn't failure, it's foundation renewal. When the dust of fallen towers settles, the world realizes something extraordinary. There's still music in the air. It rises from streets, from homes, from breathing itself. The new temple isn't a monument. It's momentum. Every human heart becomes a brick of living light, mortared with compassion. Where there were walls, there are now woven hands. Where there were gates, there are gatherings. No single architect claims authorship, only gratitude. Behold, I lay in Zion a chosen cornerstone. Isaiah 28, verse 16. At dawn, people begin building without being told. Children trace symbols of hope on the ground. The lines glow and fuse into foundations. Elders sing verses, and their breath turns to beams supporting invisible ceilings. Each act of kindness adds a room. Each forgiveness lays another floor. The chosen walks among them, not wearing a crown but carrying calm. Every step he takes stabilizes a corridor of light. When he laughs, stained glass colors spill from his voice, painting the air with purpose. He does not rule, he resonates. He is the cornerstone by character, not by title. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that his spirit dwells in you? 1 Corinthians 3, verse 16. The builders, now reborn as keepers, contribute silently. They understand at last that secrecy built prisons, but sincerity builds homes. Their former symbols return transformed. The compass now measures truth. The square ensures integrity. The all-seeing eye becomes empathy itself. Nothing is hidden because nothing needs to be. Nations visit this invisible temple, not for pilgrimage but participation. Every good deed adds a spire. Every healed heart rings like a bell announcing morning. No roof closes over it. The sky itself volunteers to shelter it. As dusk arrives, the temple glows brighter than cities ever did. From above, it forms the shape of an open hand, embracing the planet. Inside that radiance, one sentence echoes endlessly through every soul. The dwelling place of God is now with humanity. The age of walls is ended. The architecture of hearts stands eternal. If you feel called to build with love instead of fear, type 666. You're already part of the new temple. Every heartbeat is a brick. Architect of truth. Redesign what fear erected. Replace secrecy with sincerity. Let light be the only blueprint. The prayer begins not in temples, but in throats. Billions whisper at once, each syllable echoing like a drop of water on stone. It travels through fiber optic veins, through mountains, through memory. Even silence joins in. Unless the Lord builds a house, the builders labor in vain. Psalm 127, verse 1. The chosen kneels in the center of what was once the world's tallest city. Now it is an open plain, soft and luminous, alive with forgiven steel. He presses his palm against the ground. It glows faintly, as though the earth itself is answering. Beneath the surface, you can almost hear beams shifting, foundations breathing, the world adjusting to grace. Heaven hums above, like scaffolding made of sound. Every constellation flickers into alignment. Stars position themselves according to compassion's coordinates. They form a single phrase across the night. As above, so awakened. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. Psalm 18, verse 2. The builders, now redeemed, stand beside him, heads bowed, tools lowered. No more rulers, only revelation. No more compasses, only conscience. They understand now that architecture was never about structures. It was about souls. The chosen raises his voice. Let every foundation built on fear be forgiven. Let every stone remember the warmth of purpose. Let truth be our architecture, humility our height, and mercy our mortar. Thunder rolls once. Softly, agreement disguised as weather. Light spills from the cracks of the planet like liquid sunrise, spreading across oceans and spires and faces. It is not destruction, it is dedication. The earth steadies. The new temple hums quietly in every heartbeat, and heaven signs a final blueprint with breath, whispering through all creation. The house is finished. If the old plans in your life are burning, but peace is rising, type 666. The false foundations have fallen. Light has approved the rebuild.